where's he going to wind up?
Some people talk to volleyballs, so, you know.
Yeah, Wilson?
Yeah. I mean, you know,
tell all your problems to
talk to a coconut. I don't care. Like, talk to somebody. You know, that's the point. Yeah, that's the point. And I think that you guys are doing such good work, like giving people exposure to the fact that they're not alone.
Like just the opportunity to speak.
Yeah, our stories might all be different, but yet they're all so similar.
There's a common theme
it's the human condition
these.
For a reason.
So what did you do? So after all that, like, and you decided to change. You decided to change because of that phone call. So what did you do? What were the next steps that you did to create a happier life to where you're at now?
So this is going to sound silly, but I just really committed to the idea that I said to myself, I am going to be, I'm not happy right now, but I am going to be happy. And so I just decided that I am going to be happy. I might not be happy in this moment. I might not be happy with anything that's happening right now, but I'm going to be happy. And that set me on a path of like, you know, well, what do I want? And take it till you make it, man. You know, you don't need to fake your happiness. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying, you know, just do things that make you happy. Like I got into woodworking. That's been so therapeutic for me. Like there's nothing better than planing down some rough cut piece of wood and turning it into something beautiful, you know.
Cool.
Yeah.
I don't have that skill, but that's cool.
I don't have that skill either, but I aspire to have that skill one day, you know. You know, I take things into my wife and she's like, "Oh, good job, honey. That's pretty cool. Want to put that in the garage?"
You got married again. Is that the next step or whatever?
That is.
Okay.
That is the next step. So I reconnected with a friend from high school, you know, and then we just started talking. We were both going through it, you know. I really found an ally in life. I found somebody who was as selfless as I wanted to be.
Well, it helped that you already knew this person, right? Yes, indeed. You know,
so
you grew up with them.
Yeah, you know, we kind of circled around each other in those high school years, you know, and then we lost contact. You know, just through serendipity, we wound up finding each other at the perfect point in our lives. And I can't say how incredible it is to have just a partner in life. Like, you know, I don't know, like I love being married to this woman, you know, like I love,
it's awesome.
You know, she gets me, we're the yin to each other's yang. Like, you know, she's a little more high strung sometimes and I'm mellow, and then I'm a little more high strung sometimes. She's mellow, and just like cut it out. You know, we call each other out on our bullshit, you know, and you just find the glove that fits. You know, sometimes I got lucky. You know, I found the glove that fits. And we got 2 great kids. Like,
that's great.
Changed my world.
How soon did you leave for Afghanistan after you got married?
Well, you know, I don't learn things correctly the first time, so I have to do them over and over again. So, I got married a few months before I went to Afghanistan.
Awesome.
You had to have thought,
there's a couple of reasons.
This is I mean, I'm going to repeat the same thing.
Got the potential to either end one of 2 ways.
Yeah.
But you knew what you wanted this time, you know? Right? You knew what you wanted.
I knew what I wanted. Yeah. You know, I mean, you know, my ex-wife just wasn't the person that I was meant to be with. You know, there's people that are in your life for a season, and then there's people that, you know, are in your life for a lifetime, and they're both equally important. You know, I learned from that first relationship what I had done wrong, you know, and where I made some mistakes, and you know, now I'm able to apply those lessons to this new relationship and hopefully not repeat the same mistake. But yeah, so I went to Afghanistan in 2011, and man, I was off the chain. that was a crazy experience. So the big difference this time was, you know, when I went to Iraq, I was basically responsible for myself and, you know, the 2 other guys in my truck.
I want to ask you really quick if in Iraq you had up-armored equipment.
Yeah, we had up-armored Humvees. And those, some of the MRAPs were just barely being fielded and coming into existence. By the time we got to by the time we got to Afghanistan, what would that be like? 6 years later, things had changed and the fielding was complete. There was a lot of heavy equipment.
So is that what made it better?
Better is subjective.
Yeah.
So, I slept in a hooch on my first deployment, in a trailer, a modularized trailer thing where there was like 2 people to a room.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. In Afghanistan, me and my platoon, we slept in big GP medium tents and, just out in the middle of friggin' nowhere.
Yeah. So what?
I don't know.
What was your rank then?
So initially I was still a staff sergeant,
okay.
But I had been selected for promotion, and I was just kind of waiting for, once you're at that level, once you're selected for promotion, you get put on a list, you're numbered, and then as the Army needs people in those positions, they promote you. So I was already a platoon sergeant, but I was still in E6. I was just waiting for my number to get called to get promoted to E7.
Yeah.
Or sergeant first class.
Yeah. And
so, I was a platoon sergeant for that.
I feel like a sergeant first class is almost the most important job in the entire Army.
I loved it.
Yeah.
I loved it. Like, I had a group of 32 animals that were my animals,
Yep.
Like it was my zoo, and it was so great, my lieutenant was an amazing guy. Dan Shines, an amazing guy. We got each other. He's very different than I am. I think that dichotomy helped.
Yeah.
But both of us were always focused on what's best for the boys.
Yep. Right.
When we would get together in a huddle, before we go out on mission, and we'd all put our hands in the circle. Brothers on 3, 1, 2, 3 brothers, and it was like that. We were brothers.
Awesome.
And,
that's great.
And to be,
it was an incredible experience.
Leading that kind of group of people is got to be the most
rewarding,
the best feeling ever.
That was the most rewarding experience in my life. I no longer feel like an imposter in that sense. Like
some healing just right there.
I came into, I had the perfect group of people. I was in the right place at the right time, doing the right thing, and it all just kind of came together. We were very lucky. We had a lot of injuries, but we never lost anybody. And any convoy that followed my route clearance platoon never got hit. 100% successful. And that is all due to the dedication and the discipline and the hard work that those 32 men and 1 woman put in,
absolutely,
day after day in austere environments, in crazy situations, in terrifying situations. Those people, it was an amazing team, and it's the highlight of my life. I'm not prouder of, I don't know, it's amazing.
And it sounds like your deployment to Iraq and Afghanistan are kind of, I don't want to say polar opposites, but in a way they are.
Pretty different.
Yeah. I mean, there was still the same death and violence and hardship and boredom punctuated with insanity, but I felt more connected than I think I ever felt before in my life. So that was important for me.
Seems like your attitude was different. Your attitude had changed.
I think so. It's hard to like self-analyze that, figure out where the flip switched. I was terrified. I've never been more terrified in my life. Like, the decisions that I make have life-changing effect on these people.
Yep.
There are guys right now that are dealing with lifelong injuries due to decisions that I made. Decisions that were unavoidable, but decisions that I made, but everybody executed to the best of their ability. Everybody was dedicated, and it was just the epitome of a team.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So did that affect when you were speaking with your wife? Did that affect your attitude compared to Iraq, or was it kind of the same thing?
I think so. I think that my mentality was different. And I think that my wife's mentality was different than previous, so I think that we were both going through things at that point in time, and she was able to be there for me. Like, I had a cell phone, so I was able to call home, once a week. We were able to have conversations that weren't, being overheard by other people. So we were able to go really deep with each other.
You used that time to learn about each other.
Mechanism for each other. Yeah, we were able to be a support mechanism for each other. And, she was dealing with different things than I was, so I had a different perspective because I wasn't embedded in it. And the same for me, like, she had a different perspective, She was at home taking care of the lives of these guys that, were working for me. So I don't know, it kind of added to each other. It definitely brought us closer. It was definitely, shared hardship. There's something to be said. Like, shared hardship creates strong bonds that can't be formed any other way. And I think not only with my platoon, but definitely with my wife, like, that shared hardship was a foundation that we could build upon later.
Yeah.
Got to get through it,
Yeah, absolutely. Your deployment to Afghanistan, you would say, is like kind of the highlight of your career, at least, right?
Yeah, 1,000%. I think once that tour was over and I got home and I had time to process things, I think I kind of lost some of my excitement for my career because I had such a high, such a pinnacle, that a lot of things felt dim in comparison. I was still a dedicated, hardworking person. It was hard for me to imagine that there would ever be another experience that could compare to that. So it was hard to refocus and just go back to, okay, well, now this is more of a job than it felt like before, But
so how many years did you still have to serve, like, before you could retire?
So I retired in 2019, and I returned from Afghanistan in 2012.
Okay.
So there was a significant time, and I there was jobs that I had and things that I did that I loved. I didn't just give up. I think some of the shine was taken off of it. I was put into positions that were not as team focused, more administrative jobs and more bureaucratic jobs. So, after I got back, I still had struggles. That deployment was not all roses,
Sure.
Like I said, those people that were injured and due to my decisions, not to my negligence, but decisions that had to be made. And I struggled with that a little bit, and I dealt with that a lot by, I don't want to say punishing myself, but I would go to the gym and I would punish myself.
Yeah.
It felt like when I went to the gym to run, like I was running from the devil, and I had to get that. When you have such a high stress load for so long, and then that stress disappears, I think that your body wants to in some way find a way to recreate that stress because that's your baseline. And so I would deal with that chaos by,
creating more,
going to the gym and, pain therapy.
Right.
I don't know any other way to describe it. Yeah.
I love that kind of therapy. It's the best.
Now that I'm retired, I'm a little more laid back.
Yeah.
But at the time, like, it served its purpose, and it really helped,
When did you retire? At what age?
I retired 2 months before my 40th birthday.
Okay.
From the Army, And it's not like I'm rich and I'm never going to work again.
Yeah.
Kind of retirement. Nobody joins the Army to become a millionaire, and if you do, you're an idiot.
Yeah.
So, started to think probably about 3 years before. Started to think, like, what is my next step? I hadn't even really thought about it.
That's a weird time in life. Yeah, that's a weird time in life to have to be forced to think about that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's like, I've been doing this since I was 17, and it was the one thing that I knew I was good at. It was the one thing that I knew that I had in the bag, and now I'm stepping away from that. There was reasons to step away from it that were good for me, good for my family, but also, like, well, where do I go from here? Like, holy crap.
Yeah.
I don't know how to make this pivot.
So what was that pivot?
That was extremely stressful. it was a process.